Welcome to Kathy'sRight.com, your pit stop for the conservative mind, heart, and soul. I'm Kathy. I've been told my entire life not to talk about politics or religion, or definitely not politics combined with religion. Then I started reading my Bible. Okay, that's about 30 years ago. I'm still reading my Bible, and my Bible is chock full of politics and religion, starting all the way back to Satan in the garden with Eve. Well, that was the very beginning of fake news and propaganda. Go all the way to Herod, go all the way to Pharaoh. Throughout the history of the Bible, politics and religion. Jesus was crucified on the cross. Why? Pontius Pilate, politician. Amen. Jesus died to save us. He is our Redemptor. And if he hadn't died on that cross, none of us would have a shot in the dark. In fact, we would have remained in the dark to this day. It's all there, so let's talk about it. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's get this world back on track. Let's talk about the truth. Do not let the world fool you into thinking that there is no truth. There is. So when we talk about not talking about things, we left the door wide open for relativism. And that's where my truth is my truth, and your truth is your truth, and his truth is his truth, and therefore there's no real truth. It's all relative. Well, I say that's bogus. Because if it's good enough for the Bible to talk about it, then it's good enough for me to talk about it. Look at what David went through. David, he was a sinner, much like myself. I didn't do all the same sins, but yeah, David was a sinner. And so was everyone else in the Bible, with the exception of Jesus Christ and Mary. So when I say we need to talk about it, I really mean it. We should have been talking about it all along. This is where we are today. This is why we have this topsy-turvy, crazy, upside-down world. It's because we didn't have the guts to talk about what's between the two covers of the Bible. It's there. Sin. People having sex with people they're not supposed to have sex with. But nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to keep that barn door open. I say shut it down. I say chastity. I say we have other options. We don't have to behave like animals. Since when did moral behavior become a taboo subject in this world? Let us just behave ourselves. That we can do. It is not taboo. We're made in the image of God. We have free will, but we also have to exercise something called self-control. Let's talk about it. These are all taboo subjects in today's society anyway. Got a friend here today who's not afraid to talk about it either. So today's guest, I'm welcoming Ken White, host of Southside Unicorn Show. Welcome, Ken White.
Go figure, right?
How are things out in California? I'm here in Texas. You're in California. We're the epicenters of the world, really.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I think right now in the state of California, we're a little nervous. We're anxious and on the edge of our seat because I'm not sure if you noticed or not. I think everybody knows this. On the 14th of September, we have a recall election.
Yes.
And it's already starting to stank with that Democrat, oh, it's too close to call. And Gavin Newsom's ahead in the polls and certain people aren't getting their ballots. The ballots look jimmy-rigged. So, we're a little nervous out here in California right now.
Understandably so. I'm really hoping for Larry Elder because I've been following him for years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Larry Elder?
Do I like Larry Elder? Larry Elder is one of my unenlisted mentors. Of course, the Eldersky, is someone that I admire. He, as you and I are on the mic, he's like on the mic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's way up there.
Right. So, of course, I'm down for Larry Elder. I'm not a fickle man. I want to put this out there as full disclosure. In the earlier process of the election, I was supporting a gentleman named Major Williams. Mm-hmm. But in my, estimation, his campaign suffered some inexplicable and almost inexcusable, blowouts. So I had to switch my allegiance, especially, and it only happened once Larry Elder threw his hat in the ring. When Larry Elder threw his hat in the ring, it was a game changer. So,
Right.
I currently and will not switch endorse Larry Elder.
I understand. I peg you for a very loyal person, so it's hard for you to change allegiance in anything, I would imagine.
It was very difficult. Yeah, thank you for that, Kathy. It was very difficult for me. I'm one of those type of people. I mean, I may as well be from the 300, with King Leonidas and all of that. When I'm down for you, I'm down for you. When I meet people, I initially give them my love, my heart. I open myself up to them. I'll close you off. If you know how that goes. I started you off with 100 points, and only you can deduct those points. You know what I'm saying? That's how I live my life. And I still love Major Williams. Major Williams is an awesome young man, and he is an inevitable force in the political arena going forward.
So things to come from him.
Oh yeah, don't take your eye off that young man, because for those who thought they tripped him up, no, God put you in his path so that he could be fortified and educated on just how low down and dirty some people can be.
Oh my gosh. And once you get into politics, it is low down and dirty.
And dirty. That's right. So, to me, this was just a learning lesson for Major Williams, and his youth is his power, because he'll outlast, some of the obstinacy in the GOP. And I think you might agree with this, Kathy. There is an obstinacy in the GOP, sort of like King Saul. When everything indicated that King Saul should give David the crown, he resisted. He went running around trying to kill David,
Yeah, I'm not so sure about you.
Right. And, in the Republican Party, no different than the Democrat Party, we have people who've been around too damn long. They've been around too damn long. And what they should be doing is grooming up their predecessors. And you don't see that,
They should be the mentors. They should be people putting other people in formation, preparing for a future for the Republican Party. I'm a Republican, and so I would love to say I was a libertarian. And
Whoa!
I would love to say, just because I do adhere to a lot of what they say.
So you down with this? Let me ask you a question, Kathy. Okay. You down with the sticky yicky? You down with the boobity pop, the purple murple?
No.
Okay, some not things that. Okay, all right.
Not that at all. No. Let's get that straight. No, I just believe in individual freedom, and that's pretty much that's where I adhere to what they're doing, because I believe in individual freedom. I don't believe in individual freedom void of responsibility and character and morals.
Right, rightfully so. And again, that's something I would estimate from you too. I got to get myself comfortable, because you and me gonna be here a while.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, that sounds like the Kathy I know, because Kathy's always right.
Yes, just as long as everybody gets that straight. And when I'm not right, I'm only mistaken.
There it is. Aha.
But you know what? The Democrats aren't the only ones who play fast and loose with words. I've learned that I'm going to have to learn to do that to play this game, because you notice on television they never say the word lie. They say, "Oh, what he said was inaccurate," or it was, I'm sure he didn't mean to say it. That's how they explain Joe Biden and his everything that comes out of his mouth. They'll say it was inaccurate, or he really meant to say this, rather than just say he lied.
Exactly.
But when Trump was in office, boy, they didn't hesitate to say he lied.
Oh man, he lied the minute he woke up. Be like, did he wake up? Anybody hear him moving around? He lied. He lied. Yeah, you're right.
That was no kidding. I mean, everything he said. I really liked Trump. That was, in fact, I will go as so far as to say that he was the best president in my lifetime.
I've always had a toss-up since President Trump's emergence. I served under President Ronald Reagan in the United States Air Force, and he was the greatest commander-in-chief, Pontiff Maximus that I'd ever seen. He made sure we had it.
Too.
He was a man's man, and he was assertive. So it was an honor to serve under him, and you felt safe serving under him, because just his imprimatur was like a shield. Ain't nobody messing with you, because this man was a decisive man. But then along comes President Donald J. Trump. And you know what I'm saying? This man, that's one bad white boy. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And I was down with him before he came down the escalator. Now it's a toss-up to me. Is President Trump the greatest president, the GOAT, right?
Yes.
Or is Ronald Reagan the GOAT,
It will go down in history as a toss-up, I bet. It depends on if he gets reelected. That is a whole nother.
That's a whole nother can of worms right there.
Yes.
Watch this. It's going to sound cray-cray, but it's just my opinion, Kathy. Unless we, and that's you and me and all the other Republicans and conservatives and those on the right and those in the middle, unless we really reestablish the platform of the United States of America, and we have to beat back this socialist leviathan that's working its way through our medicine, working its way through our minds with commercials and the celebrities telling us, now they even got the Marvel comic guys, wearing masks and whatnot. These are superheroes.
This is crazy.
So it's all psychobabble.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is, unless we lay a new platform where all of their shenanigans and nonsense is not in power, it's going to be very difficult for President Trump to win in 2024. But if we do that, he'll sell in. Like, for example, I meant to talk to you about that. You're in Texas, right?
Right.
Watch this. Your people in Texas, the Attorney General and all of that, them people ain't playing. Woo! I heard you guys got 600 people under arrest and currently set for prosecution for voter fraud. Good job.
That's good. And also we just passed a bunch of laws. September 1st took effect, the heartbeat law. For unborn babies. I don't know how much they'll be able to enforce it, but it's a start.
Hey, put it this way. The babies in heaven are clapping and cheering. They're like, yay, somebody's standing up for us. Because, think about it. If the babies could see the planet Earth and could almost see where they're headed, right? Could you imagine them, okay, watch this. Say they're in a waiting room. And their name comes up on a screen and says, you are now Johnny Watson. Johnny Watson, you'll live in Kentucky. You'll be raised by, so-and-so, boo-boo-boo, right? You'll go on to become a doctor. And then so everybody in the room is clapping for them. They're like, go, Johnny, because Johnny's on his way to Earth, right?
Right.
Can you imagine he's getting ready to go through the doors, and then all of a sudden it goes, warning, do not enter. Do not enter. Your body has been destroyed.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? So what you got, I'm sorry about that, Kathy. I'm just good with my little metaphors, right?
Oh, I know. It's just, that's one of the reasons. I have a good friend who does sidewalk counseling, and she says, you should come, Kathy. I'm like, I could never do it. I'd just sit there and cry the whole time. I'd be like, but
I said I love to say, you guys did a great job with that. And the babies in heaven, they're clapping and applauding for you all because you did something. You see what I'm saying? Like you said it may not work, but you did something to say this is redunculous.
Yes.
Well, I met this dude and it was a really bad. I don't think I want to keep this baby.
I
what?
know. You had choices. We always had choices, and the choices. There's no longer this. Oh, it was rape or incest. No, this is a convenience. It's like for these people, life and death of another human being. They're treating it like a convenience store. The Planned Parenthood, and someone said it. I think it was Mike Huckabee said it this morning. It's going to come down to whether or not the personhood of a baby is understood to be a person, because then they're protected by the Constitution as a person.
Right. And that's what we need to get, because I heard it said by a real live African in Chicago when I was growing up, and he used to always hit us with these proverbs. This dude was he was like from Africa, and he said that children come here through you, not for you. And we have to, and it's more so for the woman than the man, right? They have to understand, once that life begins. Have you ever heard about the spark of life, Kathy? Yeah, isn't it beautiful? Yeah. It's at the moment of conception when the sperm fertilizes the egg. They can do it under the electron microscope now. Yeah. And for just a moment, there's this flash of lightning. the minute that egg is fertilized, they call it the flash of life.
Yes.
Once that flash of life begins, it would be humane to allow it to continue on to its natural process.
Yes. And the thing is, we have to acknowledge that it's because of our moral depravity in this country and around the world that they even think this is okay. It's because they don't want to face the fact that we have become so immoral. And so what happened to not having intercourse? We all know what makes babies. We all know. They teach it in second grade now, so we know how babies are made.
We know exactly how they get here.
So stop doing that. How about get married? I know it sounds like the cow is out of the barn, but that is the only way to really solve this problem.
Watch this. Do you listen to Dennis Prager at all?
Yes.
Okay, I listen to him too sometimes. I actually, his different stories, man and woman hour and all that kind of stuff. I love his show.
Yeah.
But I think it was about 4 days ago, this man misspoke in a big way. And what I mean by misspoke in a big way, Kathy, he said that if you are a person who's had children out of wedlock, then you're a loser.
Oh,
he said that, and that broke my heart. And what I mean by that is,
breaks my heart too, because we're all human and fallible, and we have to understand. Oh gosh, that tells somebody that maybe they're not going to go to heaven because they committed a sin.
Because Dennis Prager says so.
Okay. So
and I ain't knocking him, man. I still like him. I hope to meet him one day.
Go to heaven because basically we all going to sin.
We make mistakes.
We have what I'm talking about is self-control.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. But
and that's why I had to put that in there real quick.
Yeah, we can't dismiss people because they committed a sin. I mean, for instance, I was told by a now friend of mine, but I first met him as a new priest at our old church. Because I didn't want him to see some movies that he was renting at the Blockbuster. This was years ago. I'm like, you can't
you said Blockbuster. Yes, definitely years ago.
Yes, I'm like, I said,
wow.
No, you can't watch that. It's got too many curse words in it. And no, you can't watch that, Father, because it's got sex in it. You can't watch all these things. And he's like, Kathy, people watch movies where bodies are blown up and mutilated, and that's okay. But as soon as you watch something with sex in it, it's a heinous sin. It's all the same. It's all sin. It doesn't make one worse than the other. It's just they're all sin.
It just is. Yeah.
So you have to. But the thing is, what my point was, I don't, because I personally. I wasn't as pure as the driven snow when I walked down the aisle. But I'm just saying, I think we have to take some personal responsibility as a country, as a culture, to realize that the cause of fatherlessness and the cause of the ills of abortion is unrestrained sexual activity.
And watch this. Not only unrestrained sexual activity, which you're absolutely right. Also a misskewed, twisted power shift. Please don't get mad at me, Kathy. You know I'm down for you. You're like my sister from another mother. Love you to death. But I think our society, for ill intent, it's not even meant for good. But I think our society, our legal system, the whole 9 yards, lends too much power to the woman. It's almost an absolute human rights violation. When you look at the child support system and the family court system, right?
Oh.
It's a human rights violation. If you have a penis,
you're talking about fathers' rights,
right? See, I go kind of a long way around the block to get to my point.
Yes,
I think a lot of this fatherless homes and stuff is a power struggle, is a battle. And the father loses every time, especially if it's not under the covering of a marriage or, a strong relationship that's built on love and knowing that person. Oftentimes we don't know that person. We think we do.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with a superficial, belief. So make a long story short, I believe that also, part of what's messing with the family dynamic some fathers can't get up in there. Open the door and let them in. You know what I mean? They can't get in. Parental alienation is real. While some people look at you, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's very real. I'm very blessed. My son, he's a single father. And I'm very proud of him. He has custody of his daughter, and she's, awesome. And she has some problems, and we're all helping, and she's blossoming and growing. And I'm, while I would have wished that all of my children would have adhered to what I taught them, like save it for marriage. I know reality is they probably not, that cow's out of the barn. So I'm not going to say anything personal about my children's lives. I'm just saying I don't expect it nowadays, but I'm just thinking, shouldn't we at least try?
Well, you have to know that that's what's going on, because watch this. I was raised in a house where my mama went to church. I didn't even know the church was open that many days a week. You know what I'm saying? My mama, after work and all of that, she was over she called it her church. It was her church. First Church of Deliverance in Chicago off of Wabash Avenue, right?
That's how it should be.
Well, my point is, she used to have a rule with me. If I'm out on Saturday night shooting basketball with my cousin them, she was like, boy, then you better not be laying in that bed on Sunday when it's time to go to church, right? So I grew up in the church, but when I left my mama's house and went into the United States Air Force, right? I lost my damn mind. You know what I mean?
My son was in the Air Force. My son was in the Air Force. I understand. He went to Korea and Okinawa. And
okay.
Yes.
There's a theme going on there, Kathy. You know what I mean? Brother leave mama and join the Air Force, and things get kind of interesting, right?
Well, it happens in colleges too. I remember my first year at UT. I remember most of the girls couldn't wait to lose their virginity.
What?
That was a thing.
They was trying to.
That was a thing.
What was the name of that school again?
It was UT. But I'm just saying, it was a thing. Is like some of the girls were ashamed that they were still virgins, and the abortion rate was like all I heard about was abortions. I didn't know that it was a reality really until I went to college, and it seems like every other day I was hearing about some poor girl getting an abortion, and it's I wasn't shocked back then, because back then I was pro-choice. I really was.
And see, look at that. There was a time in your life you was like, hey, why are these people in front of this building? Get your butts out of the way of this building, right?
I didn't know. I really didn't know. And once I knew, everything changed. But I didn't know how a baby was formed in the body. They didn't tell us that in that 5th grade class. They didn't tell us about the heartbeat. They didn't tell us about they better show you how to dissect a frog,
but they don't really get down on what's relevant to human nature and human life.
I didn't have a concept of it, and I remember. I'm so glad I never had to go through that. But when I had my first pregnancy, I lost my first baby. That brought it home to me. That was a human being. That was my child. It wasn't just a hope and a dream in my head.
Was it a live birth, or did something happen during the gestation?
It happened during the gestation.
I'm sorry to hear that, yeah.
Yeah, but most women I know have had at least one like that. And so that was sad. I found out when I went through it, my mother said, oh, yeah, I lost one in between you and your sister.
Wow.
It's very common, but it's not ever good or ever fun. And at that
because
point,
to you, that's still your child, and that's still a mourning that you have to go through.
And I had no body to bury. I didn't have, so I had a mass said for my baby. I gave him a name. I don't know if it was a boy, but it was a human being, and it was my child's, my own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
So to me, that's when it's really like hit me in the face what abortion was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you would do that to your own child? I would have done anything to protect my child.
Well, watch this, Kathy. Trip on this. In Chicago, back in the 70s and 80s, right? We were like Romeo and Juliet times, in Shakespeare, where most people don't realize that, but Romeo was like 14 and Juliet was like 13, We were like little grown people. in Chicago because our parents were doing what they had to do to put some food on the table. So most of us in our neighborhood, the younger folk, right, we all just banded together and we were friends. The bad kids, we let them hang with themselves, and the sort of good kids hung with themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so here we go. Let me just share this experience with our audiences. I'm 14 years old, right? I got a girlfriend, one of the finest girls in Chicago. She was pretty. Hey, you know what? Honestly, she kind of reminds me of you. She is fine. And so she comes to me one day and says, Kenny, we all talked about it. Your mother works the longest. You have the house to yourself. There ain't nobody else there but you. We need to all cut class in a couple days, and we're going to hang out at your house till about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that okay? And because this is my girlfriend.
Peer pressure too.
Yeah, but watch this. Because it's my girlfriend, I know her. She was very stoic. She was very serious, right? I'm like, okay, we can do this, right? Now, me and my cousins, I just told them we have like a class cutting party or something, right? Wrong, Kathy. Watch this. All the girls that we knew, they come into my house. Now, my cousin and them are already sitting on the couch, chopping up their little weed, getting the seeds out of it, because, back then it was real weed, so if you got a seed in your face, I never smoked it in my life, y'all, true disclaimer. But, my cousin and them smoked weed, so, I won't mention names. My two best friends and my cousin are sitting on the couch, and these are dudes, and they just chopping up their weed, getting ready to smoke it, because we're going to be there the whole day. Now, the girls come into my house, and one of them, I know her. I'll use her nickname because that was really her nickname. Her nickname was Tweety. They bring Tweety into my house. Tweety's holding her stomach. She's crying, and she's a little slumped over. And my girlfriend said, Kenny, I'm going to take her to your bed and let her lay down, okay? And again, she was in such a stoic mode that all I can say is, okay. I knew something was going. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy.
At 14, you're going to say, okay.
Okay, right? So they laid Tweety down in my bed and put blankets over, and some of the girls were patting her on the back and all this. Now, us dudes, we're like, what the hell is going on, man? I mean, I thought we was having a party, This wasn't no party. It was too somber for a party. And so, I finally pulled my girlfriend into the kitchen. I'm like, what in the world is going on? What are you doing, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, Kenny, Tweety just had an abortion.
Oh.
At age 14, here we all are covering up for her and letting her, get herself right so she could go home. Her mom knew nothing about it. You see what I'm saying? So I've seen the abortion. How
was she able to get I don't know what the laws were about.
Watch this. You using the wrong word, Kathy, for the city of Chicago. You use the word laws.
Oh.
Are you feeling me?
Yeah.
You can do a lot of stuff in Chicago. You can get a lot of stuff done in Chicago. And if you try to use the word, is it lawful? Somebody might laugh. Be like, lawful? I'm going to get this done, And so, she found a way. And I said all of that to say this. I have been involved with the abortion idea on many levels. I mean, that's so that, our audiences can get the depth of what we're talking about. Yeah. I've been involved almost like an alpha omega situation when it comes to the abortion concept. Right. But now, like we were saying, as we evolve, as we learn more, as we understand more, oh no.
Yeah.
I put it this way. I say it this way. Defend life. Always defend life because somebody did for you. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm at with it anymore. But I mean, if you saw me at 14, 17, 19, 23, even 30.
Oh, I thought I knew everything.
Thank you.
I thought I knew everything. And my sister would cry when I would tell her that I was pro-choice. I thought I was being so modern. I remember reading the New York Times thinking now I'm really,
I got this. And you're college educated too?
Oh, yeah.
That was a hurdle.
So, my sister would cry, literal tears, because it broke her heart because she's so anti-abortion. And I'm way anti-abortion. But I think it's because now that we have ultrasound, now that we know better, we should do better. Mm-hmm. And those things don't apply anymore. We can see the baby. We could see the baby. And you know they don't even show the baby to the women that go in for these abortions. They won't let them see the ultrasound.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. And watch this. You know that guy from there, Kathy, that they won't let them look at the ultrasound. They won't let them look at the baby, right? Mm-hmm. I akin that to this one truth. Go to Las Vegas. Go inside a casino, and I challenge you to find a clock. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you could see the clock, you'd be like, oh, I've been in here way too long. I gotta go. They want you to stay in a casino, so there are no clocks in a casino, right?
Right.
They don't want these young ladies seeing their child, because once they can associate, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Once
they see the reality of it, then your mind has to change. Because it's barbaric. It becomes barbaric. And I can't help but think of, before Jesus was born, when King Herod wanted all the firstborns to be killed, this was not a pretty picture. These soldiers literally went into homes with swords and basically
whacking babies.
Impaled babies, yes, in front of their parents. So this is that barbaric. It's just under cloaked windows and doors and no ultrasound. Exactly. And what was old is now new again, because those same soldiers, these are grown adults who could take the double-bladed sword, hold a baby up by its feet and punch it. Those same people are back again. They're just masking themselves inside these buildings called Planned Parenthood. Yeah. They're no different. They're the same person. Different. And you know what I wish I could remember? Maybe you can help me with this, Kathy. There was a movie out about a woman who worked at the Planned Parenthood. She rose all the way through the ranks to be like one of the... Abby Johnson. Is that what that... Okay. Yes, I've gone to see her speak a bunch of times. I love her. And she talks about all the shenanigans that they pull to keep the young women unaware, and how the money is so important, how they will not give a refund if the young woman changes her mind. There's no refund. Oh man. So because you didn't kill your baby, we keeping this money. Exactly. There's no refund. I learned a lot. I'm going to have my friend Jackie on the show. She's been doing this for years, and that's how I met Abby Johnson. It was through my friend Jackie. She's been in pro-life fight for years. I always march with her when we have our marches here in Texas, and I remember, at this one march, there were so many policemen protecting us at the march, because the anti-life people were. If you saw how vulgar they were. I call them the necromancers. Yes, the necromancers. They look demonic. I mean, they have. I saw some of them like with their children wearing leotards with paint spread between their legs to look like blood. Their children. Necromancers. This was evil. And I would shake the police officers' hands and say, "Thank you for protecting us," because you could see that there was good versus evil. It was good versus evil. We war in the spirit. Yeah. The powers, the principalities and whatnot, this is where I always get kind of tricked up on it, Kathy. We do war in the spirit, and you did see some demonic, I call them meat puppets for demons, right? But you did see that, but it does pour itself into the natural. That's why somebody could put fake paint on their child's groin area. That was disgusting. Yeah. Oh. It was, and they were like right there in front of the Capitol. I'm thinking, it was disgusting. But here we were. They never put it on the news. They never. We had like maybe 20,000 people in that march. Never makes the news. But we get to the Capitol, and all the churches are represented. Jesus would have been happy with us, because we were. I got invited to that event. Did it already happen? We usually have it right before spring. So that's the email. I'm going. Are you going to go this year too? Hopefully. Last year I had a hip problem. This year I don't. So I'll probably be there with my friends from church. Okay. So, I got invited to it. I think I'm definitely going to go. In Washington, D.C., right? Oh, well, I go to the one in Texas, but they'll have it all over. Okay. I mean, you could go to your state capital. They'll have one. Not in California. Do you think they have one in California? I'm sure there's pro-life people there. Well, there's pro-life people here, but I don't think they would. I'll look into it and see. I did get an invite to Washington for that. Oh, I think I'm go if you can. If I could go, I would. I would be careful, though. They might be setting you up like they did the January 6th people. Be careful, because I think that whole thing was a setup. I don't think that was a total. Do you think it was legit? Do you think that was really an insurrection? Serious?
Watch this, Kathy. A friend of mine, his name is Phil Naiman. He's the host of the Firing Line radio show on Salem Radio, KTIE 590 here in Southern California. He invited me on his show on the 4th of January, which would be 2 days before the event.
Okay.
And he asked me my opinion about the impending rally. These are my exact words, Kathy. I don't think we should go. It's a setup on a galactic scale. The Democrats are going to pervert it to serve a speaking narrative for them. And I said, to all of you men who are going to the rally, look after the ladies. They will be going after the ladies. Protect the ladies. And then Ashley Babbitt. And then Ashley. I saw it. You know what I mean? And I tried to warn. It's a setup. It was never an insurrection, because here comes the part that the devil is doing to us, Kathy. They have us believing that it is wrong for you to defend yourself. The craziest thing in the world is, and it was in the movie Saving Private Ryan, right? An American soldier was in the blown up buildings and whatnot, and a German was in there, and that German convinced him to be quiet while he killed him. He just kind of put his hand over his mouth and said, "It's okay, you're dying, just be quiet," right? And the man never yelled out so that his brothers could hear that something was wrong. He literally laid there and let this guy kill him, right? Kathy, that's what we're doing. The left has our minds so screwed up that that was an insurrection. It was evil.
It was
that was liberty working its way out, because the Constitution tells us that if our government leaders cannot be trusted, if the electoral process cannot be trusted, if they're acting like despots, you have the authority and the blessing of God in your Constitution to fix that.
Yes.
But not anymore. Now those who would dare stand up for America are insurrectionists. You talk about a 180 flip.
That was disgusting. I'm disgusted every time they say that. The January 6th, as though I'm thinking, I watched it. I saw police officers or Capitol Police open the doors. If that was an insurrection, why were they opening the doors? That didn't make any sense. That didn't go with the narrative, but it's just like what we were used to. We were used to what was it last summer? Them telling us this is not a riot. This is a peaceful protest.
Oh, yeah, this is a peaceful protest, right.
And the fire was right behind them.
And now you have tapped right into what I'm trying to say. We're looking at fires, people dying, and the media standing there going, there's nothing to see here. Everything is okay here. But then they go to Washington, D.C. These people are trying to take over the White House. So it's up to us, and you have it. You see, you have that power of discernment in you, that spiritual power of discernment. It's up to us to say, talk to the hand, man.
Yes.
Talk to the hand. That's what time it is. You see a leftist, an Antifa, a media person that's talking that pablum and that junk, talk to the hand, bruh. I ain't even trying to hear you. And if y'all don't stop, guess what? We got to do something with you. America is paralyzed. We're mentally and emotionally paralyzed when this is not the time for that. We're not deers in headlights. We're human beings.
And we're stronger than we look. Think about it. We are more numerous than we look.
Stronger than we know.
Yes, because I say this on every show because I want people to remember this. We still outnumber these communists. We still outnumber them by far. They make themselves look bigger than they really are because they control the media and they control the universities, but they are not that big. They're
part of the illusion.
Spineless little weasel, little bitty demons. They are takeable. They are takeable, and we are strong enough and capable.
Right. When you use the word takeable, Kathy, that takes on many different meanings, many incarnations, many translations. What do you mean takeable? Are you talking about violence?
I'm talking about we will overcome them because they are outnumbered. Think about it. They're trying to come to Texas and tell us we can't have our guns. We just passed a law saying now we can, because if you're going to open our borders and let anybody come in, and then you defund the police in Austin here. I had a former police officer on my show that defunded the police. Now we don't have Austin motorcycles anymore. The response time has increased, which could cost a lot of lives. So yeah, it's going to be the wild, wild west. That's what they wanted. That's what they're going to get. But I tell you, we will defend ourselves. I'd like to thank Ken White for being on kathysright.com. Yes, Texans, we are going to have to take care of ourselves because it is apparent to me that our president does not care about Texas or Texans or any states that border the Mexican border. Millions are coming across our border, many of whom are COVID positive. If he cared one iota about the health of our nation, he would close those borders immediately. But he says nothing about them. He just goes on and talks about masks and controlling our lives. So yes, we are on our own.
This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the people you work with, the people you care about, the people you love.
Apparently, Joe Biden has no love for the state of Texas or the people in it. It is obvious to Texas that this has nothing to do with the health and well-being of Texans and all American citizens, or he would close our borders now, seal it shut. Pray about it. God bless America. God bless you. I love you.